Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. It is 11:53 on Tuesday, October 19, 2021. These are the Charles Perry Stalker Podcast. So I've talked a lot about the 10-year history of Mr. Perry's domestic violence problem. And it is a problem and it is a crime. Peeping, voyeurism, hacking, stalking, harassment, subjugation, all that's a crime. It's economic abuse. This is not what sexy guys do to get a date. So that's why you're all alone and you don't have a date. Mr. Perry's continued to make unwanted contact with me, Mr. Warman, directly, and I've asked him to stop, and he won't stop. So we have another podcast today. So we're going to go ahead and do the disclaimer, use allegedly. When I make an allegation, use allegedly. We're applying the but-for standard, that but for Mr. Perry's unwanted attention and harassment and threats, and I'm going to take your car since 2019. I'm going to take your car. He truly believes that if he takes my car, I'll call him. And then he can go, well, I'll give you whatever you want, but you got to lie for me. And I've continued to say no. And he gets caught every time he tries to take my car. He's got an investigation on something, his online peep show that he does, and the torture, torment, and starvation of women and children. It's very offensive to a whole lot of people that you do that. I'm also asked, but I wouldn't need to say anything. I have other stuff to do. Believe me, I got lots to do, and I don't like having to drop everything I'm doing to address the latest threat Mr. Perry's made. I really don't. Or the latest unwanted contact. Or the latest thing he's creeped and icked and oozed all over me. I have other things to do. So, but for he's in Oklahoma bothering me, there would be nothing to say, would there? The other thing is the reasonable person standard. What would any reasonable person do in my place? There's a whole lot of people that have criticized the hell out of me. I would like to see you stand one day or 5 minutes of my life, and I bet you couldn't do it. I've done it for 10 years, every day, all day long. Harassment, constant just pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of duress these men put on me. Okay, so let's go back to Mr. Perry. I've got the emails and the Facebook messages that document threats that were made. We have a witness that says Mr. Perry has, ever since I've known him, he trolls women. He finds divorced women with kids. He has a hidden camera installed in their home when they're not there. He can pay off the landlord or the maintenance guy and get in, or get a locksmith. He gets in. He's determined. And he'll have a hidden camera installed in their home against their will or without their consent or even knowledge. A lot of these women don't even know. Then he broadcasts watch time on the dark web and makes money. He's a sexual sadist, so he likes to torment and torture and starve these women and these kids. He was abused as a child. So that we're going over, we have to review the criminology, the crime causation. You got to deal with reality. What is really going on here? It's not what he says. He's not a victim. He likes to pretend he is, but he is not a victim. I did leave Lubbock. I left in 2013 to get away from him and his drama and his problems. Where I come from, my granddad was the chief. He was an elected official. He was the county county treasurer. He was a city councilman. He was involved in the UFO investigation and subsequently assisted in getting the UFO museum set up because people all over the world wanted to come and look. And so he was involved in that. My family was the power in the town where I grew up. My granddad was a lawman. My great-granddad was a lawman, and my dad was too for a little while. That's how I grew up. What I grew up is, if you got a family issue, you keep it within the family. You don't get Jerry Springer about it. So Mr. Perry is of the delusional belief that peeping is a date. Harassing women is a date. Because he's a sexual sadist. He's getting off, but everybody else is suffering. So everybody else gets pissed off. You took my car. You took my money. You wrecked my car. You vandalized my car. You took the life of somebody I respected. You interfered with family relationships. You butt in. You caused a problem. You caused a conflict that otherwise wouldn't be there. You caused the loss of something. You caused the loss of finances. So, to the people, to the victims, or loss of freedom, loss of a reputation. To the victims, we hate him. We hate his guts. He's not an attractive man. He's disgusting. He's depraved. He's delusional. He's demented. And he's pissed everybody off to, I can't even describe how bad. But for him, he gets off on that stuff, the witness says. He gets women fired from their job. He's watching them in their house, against their will or without their consent or even knowledge, some of them. He's watching little kids take a bath. He's getting the mom fired. Then he hacks her. So when she tries to apply for work, he makes sure she can't get work. Then they lose their house. Then he has the ex take the kids away. As long as I've known Charles Perry, the guy said, he likes getting women hysterical and he goes and rubs one out. That's what the witness says. I'm quoting somebody else. Because Mr. Perry's being investigated. He has been for a while. My job was just to get him elected. At the time, I was married. I didn't fit the victimology, but in the meantime, I get divorced. Now, all of a sudden, I do. So now I'm a victim. But you know what? It doesn't get any better than when the bad guy comes right to you. He's the gift that keeps on giving. The guy can't stop. He can't control himself. He has no power. He just goes at me and goes at me and goes at me and goes at me and goes at me. And never before in his life has he been caught this much in his crime. No one has done what I've done. No one. We understand he wanted to take my car and serve me with a restraining order so I couldn't tell on him. There is certain things called entrapment, selective prosecution. There's a Me Too movement where women can speak out against harassment of men. So you're going to selectively prosecute me because I promise every woman who's been vandalized, raped, violated, harassed, stalked, they can talk, so why can't I? Because it's you. Yep. So they wanted to, we're going to have her car towed and sold before she figures out it's not legal. Because we went into court and lied. Again and again and again and again and again. Our judge that grants investigatory orders is not going to be ignorant on the facts, Mr. Perry, like all the ones you buy. The courtroom is not a diner, and the judge is not a short order cook, and that's what you've reduced it to. $25 million you paid out didn't cover up a damn thing, did it? Because over and over and over you're getting caught. Not a date. You just get caught. So, and you get up every day and do the same thing that gets you those results. Mr. Warman, your client wants to speak to me, and I've said no. I can't relate to somebody who's crazy. You might as well talk to a wall. You can't reason with crazy. He never shuts up. He tries to talk to me all the time. He never shuts up. So I don't know what the hell he thinks he's going to say. I don't want his bribe. I've already said that. If you'll lie for me, I'll give you whatever you want. No, you won't. You'll give me what you want. And what you want and what I want are not the same thing, sir. And I have said this over and over and over and over. Mr. Warman, you got 6 elder care doctors that think your client has Alzheimer's because people have to say the same things over and over and over and over. And he'll get caught on something specific, some kind of injury he's trying to do to me, like take my car. He told Olive Manford, it's not legal, but I'm going to take her car and have it towed and sold before she figures that out. And then she'll call me and be my bitch. I said no. Didn't I? David Robertson was just recorded a few days ago. How do we get her out of Oklahoma? Because she's fucking up my crime. And once I get her out of Oklahoma, I can go back to my crime as usual. What makes you think that? What in the world makes you think that? I didn't come here to pick a fight with you. I came here to get away from Crazy Charles. Weird Charles. I'm not in love with him. I told you that a long time ago. I can't stand him. He makes my skin crawl. Mr. Perry, you know, when you hit on me, I think you're pretty. I think you're smart, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I didn't ask you. I did not ask you. What I asked you to do is don't contact me. I don't like it. So Robertson says, we take the car. Well, we take the car, she has to leave. And the guy goes, well, she can, there's a lot of businesses around her, she can walk to work. I need her to quit doing Uber Eats. I need to get that car from her so she can't do any of that. It's a side hustle, by the way. It's not a major job, but duly noted for the record, Mr. Robertson, your intent was to harm me, take my car, so I can't. I have to leave. You think I'm gonna leave Oklahoma? We heard you were talking to my family, telling them we'll let you know if she leaves, because we're gonna do all these horrible things to her to try to get her out of Oklahoma, so we can go back to our crime as usual, because she's fucking it all up. Let me tell you something. I didn't come here to pick a fight with you. You picked it with me. And every time you do, you get caught. You're caught saying that. And you don't tell my family, we'll let you know if she leaves. You don't talk to my family. Do not talk to my family again. Do not talk to my family. Get the fuck out of my life. Get the fuck out of it. And then there won't be anything to catch, right? There won't be any crime to catch. But we know you said that, David, because you were recorded. You always are. You guys have an investigation on you. And you've been caught more than ever in your life. And I've said the same thing over and over. When you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get caught. You don't get a date. Mr. Perry's all by himself. He's all alone. There's no date. I can't stand him. But you get caught. And that bitch gets up and goes right back at it. Over and over and over. And now you got doctors going, he's got Alzheimer's. Did he forget she caught him already on that? And he's still trying to do it? I'm not going to call. You take my car, I'm not going to call you. What the fuck planet do you live on? I can't stand you. You take my car, you're going to piss me off. Every time you threaten my car, it pisses me off. When you piss me off, you piss 40 cops off and they go at you harder. It's the same thing every day with you. And that's why they think you have Alzheimer's. In April 2020, in March 2020, I said I knew Mike Mealy was drugged. Couldn't have killed Chief Miller. Couldn't have done it. He was drugged. He was passed out. He slept through the whole thing. So, April, Mr. Perry's recorded. I think we found a hitman that can kill Cindy, and it won't be linked to us. That was recorded, and he knew it. And you'd think that would deter, because we knew it, right? Nope. He still talks to the hitman. How do you know the hitman didn't record you, Mr. Perry? We're going to fake up a medical emergency at her workplace. She's going to help the victim. When she helps the victim, we'll tell her she's going to get the guy's got a virus. She needs a shot. What's in the shot is strychnine, but she doesn't know that. She'll take the shot. She'll be dead. We'll say it was an unfortunate allergic reaction. You were recorded. You were caught. You were recorded talking to people about running me off the road. You were recorded, and you were caught, and you always are. Mr. Robertson is recorded. I got to get her car away from her. We got to break it. We got to ruin it. We're going to put something in the gas tank. Make sure she can't get a new car. Because she's fucking up my crime, and I want her out of Oklahoma. Duly noted for the record. Witness tampering is a crime, sir. You guys need to get some attorneys that understand the RICO Act. Our prosecutor does, I promise you. He gets it. He's happy to read it to you and explain it if your attorneys are not able. So I find this article, and it's discussing monitoring, putting a monitor on a domestic violence offender, like an ankle monitor type deal. And we've got the definition of domestic violence. Look right there. Intimate partner violence, or former intimate, or would-be, or wannabe. A pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain control over the other. And it includes an economic abuse. You take my car, David, that's economic abuse. You call my parents and say, don't give her money. Economic abuse. You have guys sitting outside a strip club, running people off, so on Friday night, there's nobody there. Economic abuse. Our prosecutor said, I can get him on interfering with contracts, harassment of my witness. He's interfering with every contract you've got. He's not only interfering with contracts that would bring income or converting funds that were intended for you. He's running off people, and he's interfering with contracts that you owe money to people. So I can get him harassment of my witness, grand larceny with intent to coerce, harassment. That's the act. The crime is harassment of my witness, tampering. The act is conversion with intent to coerce. Grand larceny with intent to coerce. Interference with contracts with intent to coerce. Subjugation is your thing, isn't it? We gotta get her subjugated. Motherfucker, get the hay out of your mouth and talk right, hillbilly. Whoever said that. You're caught over and over and over. This article, actually, some states do have electronic monitoring already. And I suspect there'll be more of it. You're a violent offender, Mr. Perry. Domestic violence. You want to subjugate me? You want to take control and power over me by taking my money? So there's two things that happened recently. They wanted to get information on my debit card, apparently, and my driver's license. We heard that Mr. Perry wanted my license suspended. So that's duly noted for the record. Also duly noted for the record is he wants my ringtone. If you use Uber Eats to get my ringtone or to get my phone number or any information like that, they're going to call that harassment because you shouldn't know what I'm doing and where I'm going but for crime. Voyeurism, stalking, harassment, crime. You don't need my ringtone, Richard. 50 recordings, or now it's like 55 of you guys talking about we got to get a ringtone, we got to get a ringtone. No, you don't. Go mind your own business. Get a life. You don't need my ringtone. If you find, okay, if I'm in my home and you guys got cameras on me, then you're going to know if I'm out of food or I'm out of cigarettes or I'm out of coffee or I'm going to go to the store for some reason or I'm going to work illegally. You got right there illegally obtained information. Right? You have me followed. That's stalking. That's felony. Mr. Perry, for you, it's federal. You don't even have a residency in Lubbock anymore, do you? I hear you're in Oklahoma so much. Remember, I moved. I left. I wanted to get away from you. I moved twice. I made my child, at 10 years old, leave all his friends and everybody he loved and knew. Pack up our shit, put some of it in storage, and leave town. And he had just lost his house. It was just a few months after we lost our home, just like the witness said. Because I had a friend that offered to pay for my home when I got behind because you fucked up my money, like the witness said. You're proving everybody out. You prove out recordings. You prove out the witness because you just keep doing the same thing and you act like you're not. If I close my eyes, nobody can see me. No, I want a list of people you think you're fooling. Because I can tell you for sure, if I sit down and talk to them, they're not fooled at all, sir. Not one bit. You bullshit yourself too much. You bullshit yourself. If I'm quoting you, you're caught, and you're not fooling anybody. Not anybody. So if you watch me in the privacy of my home, that's voyeurism. That's a crime. You don't have my consent. I've billed you. I am going to get paid $1,000 a day because you're getting entertained, and you're doing it illegally against my will. Because if you watch peep shows and actually the new CSI Las Vegas, they got a fetish club and they got a peep show. You can go in there and pay and peep all you want. It's perfectly legal, but peeping on a woman in her house is not. So when you find that information out, or hacking, so you can see if I'm doing Uber Eats, right, because you hacked me. So you're gonna have some guy pretend to be a customer. Boy, you guys like doing that. Let's pretend it's a customer and it's us doing something nefarious or getting information illegally. You want to try to get my phone, something. Go fuck yourselves. None of that's admissible. It's fruit of the poisonous tree. You shouldn't know when I'm gonna work. You shouldn't know when I'm gonna go to the store. You only know because you're peeping and you're hacking. Both criminal activity. Stalking is a crime too. In all 50 states. For you, Mr. Perry, it's federal. But we understand your residency is in question at this point. Oklahoma courts have jurisdiction over you because you live here now. You abandoned your residency in Lubbock and you're up in Tulsa more than you are in Lubbock. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. We got a guy that said he came up to Oklahoma. She left. No, I didn't just move once. I moved twice to get away from you. But my friend of mine offered to pay my rent. She's behind on her rent. And I'll pay it for her. And the guy said, nope. Well, what's she doing? Is she having wild parties at her house? No. Is she tearing everything up? No. Then why the hell do you want her to move? I'm giving you money. That's your bread and butter. Just want her out. Because Charles Perry's paying me more to kick her out than I would make from the rent. Right? Why else would you do that? But that's what he does. So you supported our witness when you did that. You prove things out. So I tell the Florida State's attorney in March, Mike Neely was drugged. He didn't do it. May 2020, they deposed first responder, sure shit. Wasn't treated for being knocked out in a fight. He was found unconscious. He was treated for being drugged with opioids and given Narcan. Not a mark on the guy. Even in the arrest report, not a mark on the guy. He's got a red swollen right hand. But you know what? Detective Fife, there was an IV in the right hand. Mr. Powell did not, in my first arrest, did not preserve any evidence of blood for poisoning. The video surveillance listed on the police report. The text, I preserved the text. He did not do that. Made no effort to do that. So now everybody's going, well, then he had no intention of going to trial. He never intended to go to trial. He held that girl against her will for 2 months, knowing he was not going to trial, and he made no effort to preserve evidence, which the prosecutor must do by law. Brady versus Maryland. And Brady versus Maryland cites a bunch of other cases. I've read it. It's Brady rule. It's common knowledge, actually. It's not that hard to figure out. If your attorneys will not explain it to you, our prosecutor will be happy to. You don't fuck with a witness in a crime. I was a witness for Mike Neely, a murder. You made sure I didn't testify for him. And you wouldn't do that unless you killed Chief Miller and were trying to kill Mike. And when that didn't work, when he didn't die, kind of like me, you're trying to poison me. And when it didn't work out for you, when we don't die, then you arrange a false arrest. That man's sitting in prison for something you did. And I'm not happy about it. And 40 cops aren't happy about it. And that's the way they go at you all the time. And every time you try to take my car, every time you try to damage my car, every time you try to vandalize my car, you get caught. You got caught last night. 4 o'clock in the morning. My guys called me. Get up. They're trying to get your car again. Listen to this. Oh shit, she's up. Tell Jimmy. Hold off. Who the hell is Jimmy? Who's Calvin? When you try to hurt me, they go at you harder. Because there are men who are chivalrous, and they don't think that's cute. You can't get a date. No one wants a guy like you. You're alone. 10 years you've been alone. There's no reciprocation. There's nothing. You got delusional problems where I do something I don't intend for you to even know about. And you imagine it means something, and I'm telling you it does not. Doesn't mean a damn thing. I had to uproot my child twice to get away from you. You don't have my consent. And you will have been billed $1,000 a day for watching me in my house, plus $2,000 a day for doing it without my consent. It's a legitimate debt. You can pay it outside of court or we'll go to court. But you're going to pay your bills. You're watching me. You're being entertained. You can go into a fetish club. You got to pay. Everybody needs payment for services rendered. Whether you, and you're doing it illegally. That's the extra. You want to take my car. You want to take my car. You want to vandalize my car. You want to ruin my car. David, you want me out of Oklahoma because I'm fucking up your crime and you don't like that. You know what, bitch? All you had to do is leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I don't go around bothering people. I didn't come up here to do anything but get away from a conflict. And you're telling my family will let you know if she leaves? What? Nope. None of that is your business. The more you fuck with me, the more you get caught. There's never a date. I do not want to talk to you, Mr. Perry. I do not want to talk to you. You never shut up. I already know what you want to say. Because you never shut up. You act like you don't know who you're dealing with. Nobody has caught your crime like I have. Nobody has done what I've done. So what is it you think you're going to say to fool me at this point? What is it? This speaks to your delusion that you think you're going to sit me down and have a conversation and change something. Wow. I mean, what the hell planet do people live on? You go at me, you get caught. You go at me, you get caught. You go at me, you get caught. You wonder what makes somebody do that. Hang on a second, I'm going to show you. Look at this. What is violent subjugation? What is brutalization process? What is the theory of violentization? This is Lonnie Athens. He's a criminologist. He's talking about that in his book. He wrote a book. He interviewed a bunch of violent offenders. They're abused as kids. Where Charles says he was. He was raped by an older cousin from age 6 to, he said, a couple of years. Then his parents got divorced and they moved. And she got a boyfriend. And he tells me, at 6 years old, you cannot ejaculate. So it's painful. So now I like pain. He actually told me that. Can you believe? He thought I was going to go, oh, poor baby. Okay, now I'll be in a relationship with a sadist. The fuck? But that's the criminology. That's the causation. This is the gentleman. He's a criminologist. He's the one that goes through. He's got a book and a video. And he goes through what causes someone to be whack job. Because it's not normal to want to hurt people. That isn't normal. It's sure shit not how you get women to like you. Violence. They had a violence as a child. So did Mr. Athens, by the way. Professor Athens also was subjected to severe abuse as a child. And look what he chose to do with that. He said only 1% of the population becomes a violent offender. Everyone else can get over it and move on and find a way to use what happened to them for good. Because that's the only thing we can control. We cannot control another thing. We never are able to control other people and what they do to us. We only can control us, our perception of events that happen to us, and how we're going to respond. That we have total control over, and it's the only thing in this life that we do control for completely. We can't control the weather. We can't control the economy. We can't control a criminal wanting to victimize us all the time. You victimize me, you traumatize me, and I'm broke. And you think that's great. He's always typing in my phone, you're broke, call me. I'm going to take your car, call me. I can see you, call me. What the hell? Fucking bizarro is that? I'm broke because you're stealing my money because you do grand larceny with intent to coerce. Conversion with intent to coerce. That's your thing. We get it. Duly noted for the record. You're going to take my car thinking I'll call you. Then she can't work, David says, and she'll have to leave. And the guy says, well, there's a lot of places to work around her. She could walk. I wouldn't count on that. Well, then you're telling my family will let you know if she leaves town? What the fuck? Get the hell out of my business. Y'all have all these little meetings where you're trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. No one asked you. Don't impose. Don't butt in. Get the fuck out of my life, because every time you go at me, you piss all these cops off that go at you. I don't want you, Charles. You disgust me. You're one demented, sick little bitch. So you control. Your cousin raped you as a child. I'm sorry that happened to you, but now, because you become like her, you gave her control. She still is your god, and you're a slave to her. You are still her bitch. You've done things to me that are horrible. I don't go out and rob a bank because you took all my money. And then tell, oh, officer, you got to give me a pass because this weirdo took my money and now I'm broke so I can rob this bank and victimize other people. Do you see me doing that? Fuck no. I'm not going to stoop to your level. I'm not going to give you control by becoming like you. I'm not taking your bribe. I said, give back what you took if you want to give me something. You're not going to give me whatever I want. You're going to give me what you want. Just like you were all upset. You called my parents and said, don't give her money. It had nothing to do with you. Convert those funds. We want her broke. We want her so desperate she has to do what we said, what we tell her to do, and lie. Because she just has no other choice. She wants to eat. She better do what we say. Subjugate. A violent offender wants to subjugate, Mr. Athens says. That's what this is about. He's a criminologist. This is his field of expertise. He's highly respected in the field of criminology. It's about crime causation. What you're doing is a crime. I'm not lowering myself to your level. I'll give you whatever you want if you'll just lie. Nope. You're going to give me what you want. You take all my money. You have my coworkers taking my cigarettes, my personal belongings, my gum. What for what? You want to plant on, as some evidence of some crime that you did, and you want to say I did it? Is that what you're trying to do? What do you need that for? Who the fuck does that? See, other people are out working, Mr. Perry, being productive, successful people. I've got a 3.88 GPA in college while you're doing all this shit to me. While you're putting me through hell, and every fucking day I got to deal with the next threat, the next problem, the next crisis. I got a 3.88 GPA in college. I'm in my second year, about to finish up the second year. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm being successful in spite of what you are doing. You have tried very hard to ruin me and to ruin my success and to ruin everything I try to do. You call people I'm trying to do freelance work and tell them not to hire me. Trying to starve me. One thing after another while you're causing problems. My guys get what you just said. They're working hard. They're successful people. They're productive. They're good at their job. They're good at their job. One of them was abused as a kid too. That's why he became a cop. He said, I'm going to make sure no kid hurts again. If I find out if it's my case, I'm going to make sure that child never, ever hurts again like I did. Because I needed help and nobody would help me. I had to do it myself. I had to take care of myself. So what I'm going to do is become a law enforcement officer, and I'm going to help kids like me never hurt again. That's what law enforcement's supposed to do. My granddaddy was a lawman. My great-granddaddy was too. Relieve suffering caused by crime. And this guy's trying to find out what causes someone to do the weird-ass, violent things they do. What is in their background? What is in their makeup? What is in their DNA that causes them to behave that way? Because I was abused, and I don't behave that way. I'm a successful, productive individual in my field of expertise, and I don't hurt people. And so why would someone hurt people and use the excuse I was abused? And actually, only 1% of the population does that. You can't keep up. Only 1% of the population acts that way, and you can't keep up with normal, civilized society. And you're going to blame everybody else. You're going to blame everybody. It's everybody else's fault, not yours, right? And you're caught when you fuck with me. More than you've ever been caught in your life. And all this crap you want to do to me, duly noted for the record. And so they tell me he's got those girls watching her on her phone. And the thing that she's doing is she's talking to her attorney. So they're violating her right to attorney-client privilege. And we know she's talking to her attorney because she's put it out. She's got pictures of men sitting outside that club where they should not be. And an empty club on a Friday, Saturday night, which should not be. What the hell kind of strip club is empty on a Friday, Saturday night? Shouldn't be, and it wasn't until you fucked with it. COVID did some. Google shut down. A lot of our clients were from there, but that's not all of it. COVID had an impact on every business that is, bar, restaurant type entertainment business. Everybody struggled. But then you took whatever that was, wasn't there, whatever that didn't take, you took that. So she's sending her attorney, I drove into town one night and took pictures of Lady Godivas and landing strip and lipsticks. They were packed. Night trips, they were packed. And we had not one soul in that club where I worked. So I'd send it to my attorney because the whole thing is we're going to prove what you're doing, what I say you're doing. In my civil cases and in our criminal case. You're not getting away with it this time. And I told you that. You want to talk to me, you call Jerry Ridley. I don't trust TPD. There's a reason they've not been called by my guys. Nobody trusts them. They had Matt Powell failed to preserve evidence and obstructed justice because I had filed a police report in compliance with the law. You have to do it. You don't have a choice. And if somebody's threatening death and false arrest, you need a protective order. And you were. And everybody knew that because I had all kind of emails and texts about he's threatening death and false arrest specifically. It's everywhere. Subjugation. Subjugation. Violent offender. Subjugation. I don't know. I think TPD needs to watch and learn how you actually slay a dragon. They're not getting it done. They didn't give me all this information. My guys did. My guys did because they're good at their job. They care about victims of crime. They don't cover up. They don't cover up. Lucky wasn't going to cover it up. That's why he died. And he should have communicated with us a little bit more, and he wouldn't be dead right now. I wish he had. I wish they had. Sometimes guys think they can do something by themselves and don't call for backup. Domestic violence is one of the most deadly for police officers, isn't it? You got to call for backup. You can't do this by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. And he didn't. And, you know, his dispatcher said the way Lucky was is he would pull people over. He'd pull people over and not call it in. We'd find out after when he was making an arrest, he'd call in the arrest. I know, you know, there's a reason the police procedures are like they are. It's supposed to protect people. And so he didn't call it in. He didn't ask for backup. He didn't tell people things that he should have told them, and unfortunately lost his life. He was killed in the line of duty, not a drunken brawl. And his family needs to know that. He deserves those honors. Medal of Valor. Mike Neely needs those honors too because he's a lawman injured in the line of duty. He was trying to help me. 6 days after I file a thing with my car. It's always about getting my car. Always about getting my car. If I can take her car, she'll finally call me. If I can starve her to death, she'll finally call me. So I can subjugate her. She wants to eat, she's gonna call me and do what I tell her. I gotta subjugate her because I'm my cousin's bitch still. I can't do what other people do and get over it and move on and do something good with it. Like Mr. Evans did. Professor Evans, I'm sorry. Like Cynthia does, like my kid does, because you have subjected us to horrible loss, catastrophic loss after catastrophic loss, after profound, over and over, day after day, for a decade. You're coming up here. You need to be restrained, sir, not me. It is not a crime to tell people what you do to me. And fuck you for that, by the way. If there's a restraining order, there's not you went into court and lied again, and I promise you my guys will get you on that too. Perjury after perjury after perjury after perjury. It is pathetic. So, I'm going to move to the next thing. Hang on. Okay, so now I'm going back to this, and let's look at a couple things. I mean, these are recordings that we've obtained, Mr. Perry, of you trying to. I'm gonna harass the hell out of her and claim she's harassing me when she tells on me. Okay, once again, that's entrapment. But for you coming up here harassing me all the time, there wouldn't be anything to say. Causation of the act, you commit an act that causes an injury to me. I have the right to talk about it, just like every other woman who's a victim of your kind of crime. But if you're provoking, that's called entrapment, dumbass. But for standard applies here. You want to subjugate me. We gotta get her subjugated. Who's that? Calvin talks like that? Get the fucking hay out of your mouth and talk right. I can't stand that hillbilly shit. I hate it. I don't even get that. You sound stupid when you talk like that. So, we got all this stuff. This, Dr. Russell, I mean, you keep proving her out too. He's just doing it to hurt you. What you'd normally want to do is ignore this kind of behavior. And I'm like, he's poking and poking like a stupid little kid. Like a little kid. Once in a while, my kids would get out of they wouldn't behave right. We'd be at an event, because remember, I used to be a political consultant, so I was at events all the time. Long before I met Mr. Perry. Long before I moved to Lubbock. I was in politics all my life. You know, when I was in New Mexico, Dennis was maybe 6 months old. Do you know I met with Gary Johnson? Governor Gary Johnson? Presidential candidate Gary Johnson? Did you know that? You think I needed your help with something? What with what? I mean, God, what planet do you live on, delusional? You think you matter? You don't matter. You're just a pathetic little bitch that can't move on and can't get over it and can't act like a dude. And you want to subjugate like 1% of the violent offenders who can't keep up with normal, civilized society. You got that grandiose serial killer kind of mentality. Everybody owes you something. You're entitled. And we get that. Duly noted for the record. You want to cause me some harm to subjugate me. And I'm up here, fucking up David Robertson's crime that he's been at all his life. And now he wants me to leave Oklahoma. He thinks then he can just go back to crime as usual. I'm going to tell you something, David. You think my guys are going to just stop? You think they've done all this work, all this time, to just let you go? You're off your nut. In fact, the more you come at me, the harder they go at you because you piss them off. So you have those girls watching me getting to my personal items, my gum, my cigarettes. And you didn't think it would flag me off when the girls that don't smoke wanted a cigarette? Yep. And then they're seeing you had them watching me on my phone to see me talking to my attorney. It violates attorney-client privilege. And it's none of their business or yours. So we've duly noted that. I'm not angry at them because I know who you are and what you do. You got to subjugate. If they didn't do it, you'd hurt them. So I'm not mad at them. Why would I be mad at them? It is a betrayal. You did the same thing to my family. Our shrink said he's causing emotional and mental torment for everybody around you, not just you. Because when you ask somebody that you care about to hurt your own loved one, she wants to be happy. She wants another man. And she's got this serial killer going at her and going at her and going at her and going at her. And he thinks they're a couple. And he's just got to subjugate her. So in order to help us subjugate her, I need you to get her license plate to me. Take a picture of it. I need you to find out anything you can find out on her car. I'm going to take it away from her and then subjugate her. She's going to do what I say. And you're going to help, or I'll get the EPA on you. And I'll ruin your business. See, these people around me didn't ask for this. How could I be mad? How the hell could I be mad at them? I love them. I'm telling you, you stop hurting them. Because when you hurt my family, when you hurt the people I work with and that club's empty, and you ask them to do something to me, my guys are going to fuck up your crime like you can't imagine. And we have done that more than anybody else you know. And you are not getting it slow. You're mentally slow. Bad. When you fuck with me or anybody I know, you don't get a date. You're alone. You get caught. He goes up to Oklahoma and he inserts himself into her life. And he's got a forged marriage license. He's taking her around showing everybody. That's my wife. That's my girlfriend. That's my concubine. We're engaged. It depends on who he's talking to. He keeps changing it. And then, but here we are 6 years later. He's never been seen with her. She's trying to get a protective order. You obstructed justice. Tulsa police, you just ignored it. What the fuck's wrong with you? Now we got Deadlucky, Framed Mike, and they tried to kill me 2 and 3 times. If there weren't police from some other jurisdiction helping me, I'd be dead. And that's on you. What do you want to put me on the first 48? Shooting fish in the barrel. This is how you slay a dragon. This is how you slay a dragon. If you want people to trust you, to call you, and get you in a need to know, you got to show yourself trustworthy. And you can't do that if you just ignore a blatant obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence, perjury, fraud after fraud after fraud after fraud, over and over and over and over. And then you watch me in my house, or Charles does, and calls you. She's fixing to leave. I think she's out of cigarettes. She's going to go to, the XYZ store to get cigarettes. Make sure you got somebody there to watch her use her debit card. And 2 of them, sure as shit. Do you really think I had any intention to go into those places once? I mean, this was put out, and you still did it. Who the hell is that dumb? I heard one of those guys go, I should have parked in the back. Listen, I wouldn't have gone in anyway, so you didn't fuck anything up. But we're like, wow, if it was us, it would have been unmarked. But first of all, the first thing you got to do is get the information legally, or it's fruit of the poisonous, and you can't use it anyway. Did you think we're born yesterday if we can do all the things we're doing that you won't do? TPD, I didn't come up here to pick a fight with you either. But I did tell you, I'm going to out-cop you. I'm going to show you how you slay a dragon. It's not by doing what you do. You're frustrating people. Public pays you. You have a roof over your head. You have food on your table. You have a car in your driveway because people trust you to keep the peace. And if you're taking a bribe and attacking victims, and now we got dead Lucky and framed Mike and almost dead me, and then you can put me on the first 48. Oh, we solved that murder. Shooting fish in a barrel. We've just asked you nicely, please stop doing that. Please stop. We have the right to redress. We have the right to question our government. We have a whole bunch of ancestors who bled and died. They gave up all their wealth. They gave up everything they had to come over here so we could have a free country where we could address problems within our government. Because this is not a dictatorship. It is a free country. We have the right to free speech. And when our police don't act right, we have the right to speak out against it. And our police are not acting right on this situation, and we're not happy about it. You're attacking a victim of a crime. You're attacking a witness to a crime, and you have no idea what you stepped in, because this started before I ever came to Oklahoma. I didn't come up here to pick a fight with you. I was raised by police. I respect police highly. The ones that are good, the ones that are corrupt. You're the reason we got protests to fund them, get rid of them. If they're not going to do their job right, we don't need them. We'll find another way to do this. We'll find another way to keep the peace. That's what you had with Derek Chauvin. People rose up and spoke out. Now, I'm going to tell you, I did not think it was cool that they had riots. Riots not a protest. Riots a crime. But you can express dissatisfaction with your public officials. You can. That's legal. Nothing illegal about that. You can say, Tulsa police, you should have prosecuted an obstruction of justice case. It was easy. I filed a police report. I had to. You knew that. Everybody knew that. My first one was denied because I didn't. If I'm getting threatened with death and false arrest, I need a protective order, don't I? I was getting threatened with it, and I told everybody long before. And then I get arrested in a week. There was no investigation. Mr. Powell failed to preserve my evidence, any of it, video, text, or blood and hair, because I was being poisoned. And I bet he has no explanation as to why he did that. He had no intention of going to trial, and he held me for 2 months, illegally detained, against my will. And then they sat around and had another meeting. I know, let's send her back, make her think we're not going to do anything to her, only we're going to harass the hell out of her. We're going to go at her car all the time. We're going to go at her money all the time. We're going to have her coworkers take her gum or cigarettes and watch her on her phone, take other personal items so we can plant them for something. I had that on the docket in like 2019 about you guys having my cigarettes taken from my work. That's been there forever. I was talking to Brittany, the waitress, about it way back when. What do you need that for? What do you need that for? That's not what you do to get a date or attract a woman. That's what you do to go to jail. That's what you do to go to jail, Mr. Perry. What is it that you want? You want a date with a woman or men? Men in prison. Because you're about to get a date with dudes in jail. And you need to be very careful. Because Dr. Cyril Wecht pointed out, he thought Jeff Epstein was killed, murdered, not suicide. Because of the place of the ligature marks, number one. Number two, because even prisoners are repulsed by sex perverts like you. So it might be that you don't get a date with dudes like it seems like you want. You might have to deal with some things that you don't want to deal with. I'm not, your attorney, that's for you and your attorney to deal with. But Dr. Russell says what you've got with Charles is sometimes he escalates more than you can ignore. Because otherwise you'd want to ignore. But he acts like my patients who are mentally disabled. And our shrink says he's mentally retarded. Who does the same thing every day that gets you results you say you don't want. Not a date, but you get caught. So you want to talk to me, you call Jerry Ridley, you schedule an interview, you get Mirandized, you waive your right to counsel, and I'll be down there to take your confession. I'll go down there and I'll take your confession. That's the only way I'll talk to you, you sick son of a bitch. Because you talk to me all the time. You never shut up. So when this guy goes, he's inserted himself in her life. He's never in Lubbock. He's up in Oklahoma all the time. He's established residency in Oklahoma by law. He doesn't even live in Lubbock. He's in Oklahoma all the time, bothering Cindy. He's been seen with her family, her friends, her coworkers, never with her. He's waving around a forged marriage license she didn't sign. She's never even seen it. You pester, you get caught. You don't get it, do you? Still. You pester me, you get caught. You try to take something from me, you get caught. You don't ever get the date. And you're slow, you're not getting it. You're very slow. It's been that way since the McNamara email. It's been that way every day, and you don't get it. You're slow. It's irritating me. It's irritating everybody. So the response to that, the guy says, that's all you have to do. I'm married to Jennifer Aniston. If that's all you have to do to be married to these days, I'm married to Jennifer Aniston. I watch her on TV. I can sign her name to a marriage license. That's my wife. Jennifer Aniston's my wife. But you don't have to. They're never ever together. I'm never with her. There's no date. She doesn't like me. It's not mutual. Mr. Perry, I don't like you. Write that down. I've said it every day for a decade. I don't like you. You can think I'm cute and sexy and all that stuff. You're not listening, bitch. I don't think that about you. You absolutely make me want to vomit. You're disgusting, you're demented, you're disturbed, and you're caught more than ever in your life in your crime because you've got delusion problems. You're not getting it. My son, my youngest son, when he was little, this is all the perjury. All this here. There's videos, there's podcasts, there's I went through and Sherlocked all that, why he couldn't have done it. Evidence. I used evidence. There's a reason you wouldn't let me testify. You like concealment of material facts. I'm always out. You always have all these court hearings and I'm never there. Concealment. That's your thing, isn't it? We noticed it. So here's the thing. And I'll close with this. My little Dennis, when he was a little one, he would go take a bath and forget a toy or something. And he'd get out and he'd run around closing his eyes. Don't see me, don't see me. Well, just because he closed his eyes didn't mean we couldn't see him. So, what the fuck is wrong with you that you think you're fooling people? You're like that. Our shrink is right. You're mentally retarded. Because at your age, you ought to be doing things men your age do. Normal men. And you ought to know when you're caught. Yeah, you can't close your eyes and go, oh, don't see me. And think nobody actually sees you. Because we got our eyes wide open. We aren't 1% of the population that's mentally ill. Sadist, antisocial disorder, psychopath. Right? We're not that. You are. Delusional. I know. I'll put a camera in our house and that's my girlfriend. Voyeurism is a crime. Hacking is a crime. Stalking is a crime. Vandalism is a crime. Fraud upon a court is a crime. Procurement of property illegally is a crime. Grand larceny with intent to coerce. Conversion with intent to coerce. All crime. All of that is crime. Empty strip club on a Friday and Saturday night. Crime. We got it. We're doing it. Doesn't matter what everybody else does. We're doing it. All of this. Mike was drugged. I said it 2 months before anybody else. Let's see. I said it in January and it came up in the depositions in May. 5 months before anybody else said it. How did I know that, Mr. Perry? How did I know you did that murder? Not Michael Neely. And he's still sitting in jail. And you got people so pissed off at you about that. You have no idea. But Tulsa police, you got people really pissed off at you right now because you didn't do the obstruction. And it was easy. And Lucky was killed. That man was injured. He's a lawman. He was injured in the line of duty. Michael Neely is a lawman injured in the line of duty. Show some respect. Show some respect. Mr. Robertson, your comments and your conversations about trying to make me leave town have been duly noted for the record. And if you fucking think that would be the end of it and you can go back to crime as usual, you're off your nut. It will not. You don't know how I find all that out. But you know I find all that out. And you have no way, you have no explanation, do you? What is out is out. What is caught is caught. Mr. Perry, get the fuck out of my life. Get out of it. The more you bother me, the more you peep and hack, the more you harass me, the more you bother me, the more you try to take my money. You don't get a date, you get caught. And it has been that way for a decade, sir. What planet do you fucking live on? The longer Mike's in jail, the longer I'm broke, the longer you impose and burden and bother, the more we get. And once it's got, it's got. Duly noted for the record, Mr. Robertson, you wanted to force me out of Oklahoma because you don't like me fucking up your crime. Get off me. Then there won't be anything to tell, will there? You go at me, my guys go at you. This is called dragon slaying. That's how you slay a dragon. You came up here, Mr. Perry. You don't live in Lubbock anymore, and you need to stop telling people you do. Stop telling people you're still a resident of Texas and Lubbock, and start proving where have you been and where have you been spending your time. Because you just gave Oklahoma courts jurisdiction over you, didn't you? And now you got another fraud. Fraud after fraud after perjury after perjury after fraud after perjury after fraud. You love lying, but the thing is, you do it enough times, everybody else's eyes are open. You aren't fooling anybody. What this guy says, he's taking her money, a bunch of money. He's using her body to get a thrill. He's selling it. He's making a profit. Against her will, without her consent, in her house. This is not at a strip club. This is not anywhere. It is at her home. What a disgusting piece of trash. And then has her ex-husband buy her underwear and got pissed off. She wasn't all happy about it. He did that for him. For his viewing pleasure, not her. Because what she needed is food. She needs to pay her bills. He's taking all her money. Had somebody get her underwear. Dear Jesus, help us. Yep. You ran off my steak and gave me canned peas, and that club is not to be empty on a Friday, Saturday night again, or I promise you that will be more charges. There'll be more charges, and they'll ask for restitution. So whatever it is you do, make sure that you're willing to pay for it in the legal system, in the justice system, because you will. You're 1% of the population that can't be normal. You cannot keep up. You can't do it. If you had power, you could, and you would. So all of that has been duly noted. I would encourage anybody to look this over, because we just go over the facts, documents, over and over and over, where I've sent an email to my attorney while my coworkers sat there and watched me, violating my attorney-client privilege, because Perry asked him to. I'm not contacting her in the forum state of Oklahoma, Your Honor. Over and over, you said that, right? Okay. Well, there's all these texts, and there's all this will prove that. Bullshit. It'll prove that a lie. Everything here. So you do what you do. And we're going to slay the dragon. Doesn't matter what everybody else does. We didn't ask for anybody else's approval. Relieve suffering caused by crime. You don't hurt people. And you don't help somebody else hurt people. Because guess what? There's a thing called karma. You reap what you sow. There are legal consequences. It doesn't matter who you think you are. There are always legal consequences. It doesn't matter who you think you are. David, everything you've done to me is in a court of law somewhere, is it not? You think now you're going to run me out of Oklahoma and we'll just go back to crime as usual? You're off your nut. You're delusional too, if you actually think that. That is not the case at all. And I'm sorry you've chosen to believe something that surely by now you know is bullshit. When you mess with me, you get caught. When you mess with me, you get caught. When you mess with me, you get caught. It has been that way, everybody, since 2015 McNamara email. I said it before. You got the McNamara email where I said before he's trying to arrange a false arrest. Very specific information, which you changed up because you knew I found out. Harassment email. Mike was drugged email. On. And I'm going to take her car. I'm got so many things about my car, my ringtone. You can't know where I'm going. Listen, the fruit of the poisonous, right now, right here. You can't know when I'm working unless you're hacking or peeping. You can't know when I'm getting ready to leave my home to go anywhere unless you're hacking and peeping. Those are crimes. Stop right now. Stop. They offend people or they wouldn't be illegal. You're doing the crime, not me. But for standard, entrapment, selective prosecution. Poor you. You're a victim. You got rejected. We all get it. Now, grow up, act like a man, and go do things men your age do. You're 1% of the population. You can't control yourself. You don't have power. Go see a shrink.